Have you ever been in a situation where like, gosh, I know what I want to do, and then you thought about it, and then anxiety took over, and it's like, what about this? What are people going to think? What are the consequences going to be for myself, for my family, for my kids? And then you changed your mind, and you kind of went against your gut response, and then as time went on, you just like, gosh, I wish I would have done it differently. And I get it, and you're not alone if that's you. If that is not you, wow, just write a freaking book, and then sell the heck out of that book, because pretty much every single person I've talked to, in some way or another, has struggled with anxiety and this social responsibility, and this social pressure, and this internal dialogue that kind of grips them. And I was thinking about this on my drive back from Olympia, because I went to appeals court at Superior Court in Washington State down in, I don't even know what court it was, but I don't even wear a shirt in the Dominican Republic. So I did wear a tie for probably close to 9 or 10 years in practice. Every day, wore a tie, professional. Got to dress like a doctor, got to be professional. And so this morning, as I was getting dressed, I thought to myself, I don't even know if I know how to tie a tie anymore. I mean, it's been so long, I don't even know if I can do it. I try to think through it, and I'm like, I don't know if I can. So, but nonetheless, I get my tie and I put my shirt on, and then I go wrap my tie around my neck, and I stand in front of the mirror, and just automatically, no thought, my fingers just knew what to do. Knew to set the length of my tie, knew to do a double Windsor, tied it, took over. My muscle memory that I had used hundreds of times took over. And when it comes to anxiety, just realizing that is a new muscle memory. It's an adult muscle memory that we have. Because if you look at kids, healthy kids, and I say pre-technology kids, to be more specific, they run and they play and they interact with other kids, and they'll fight with kids, but then they'll get over it, and then they'll work it out, and then they don't have anxiety. They don't have this level of stress that they're holding onto their body. So that muscle memory is there for years. And if you were an adult right now, you don't have the same level of exposure to technology that kids do now. So you have more of muscle memory of not having anxiety. It's within your nervous system. So the question is, well, what do we do in order to release that? Because anxiety is a learned pattern. It's overactivation of the fight or flight response. And how does it get us? It gets us based on fear, false experiences appearing real. And if you've ever gotten in a conversation with somebody and they shut you down, or they had an opinion that was different than yours, and then you go through the narrative of what they probably think. And then later on, when you get a chance to actually talk to that person, you find out, no, they didn't think that. It was all a narrative that your mind created. That's what anxiety is. It's a primitive reflex from our nervous system that kept our species alive when we had tigers and lions around us that could eat us. It's a perceived danger that activates the fight or flight response. That's what causes the tightness within the traps. That's what causes the tightness in the necks. That's what causes the tightness in the jaw. That's what causes that sick to the stomach feeling. It's a perceived danger that's not real. So the question is, if it's this perception issue and it's not based in reality, well, what do you do with that information? What do you do? Well, same thing you do with any electrical device. If your phone is bogged down or your computer's having issues, you reset it. It's like you don't say that phone's bad, or I guess I'm just going to settle with this bogged down phone that never works and is slow. You don't just hit your computer. Actually, maybe you do. That's actually my go-to response when technology doesn't work. I want to hit it first, and then I'm like, oh, well, my second problem-solving technique is to then restart it. Reset the device, and then it defaults itself back and resets. And it's the same with your nervous system. So you can reset your nervous system through activation of the vagus nerve and the lumbosacral plexus. So based on overwhelming requests that I've had, our family's back here in Washington. You can see I'm at our farm, and I've had a number of people saying, Devin, we really love it when you're here because we can get care, but how do we do this when you're not here? So for the first time ever, I am hosting the Total Nervous System Reset Workshop. It's a 2-hour workshop. This is a $500 value. This is when I do continuing education in the Dominican Republic, when I take on people that are coming to me specifically to learn this skill, I charge them $500 well, it's $400 for an hour, and it's $500 for 2 hours. So really, the value is much higher. I just had to put a little sticker on there, and at 10 times the value was the minimum, kind of that I hold myself to. Because when I am going to sell something to somebody, my goal is to give you 10 times more value than what you actually are paying for. And so, at minimum. So, February 4th, which is, I believe, a Wednesday, from 6 to 8 p.m., I am hosting in Arlington a total nervous system workshop. Total Nervous System Reset Workshop. I posted it under my personal events. I have 10 spots available, possibly 9 now. So if you're interested, if you and your significant other, you and a friend are interested, lock your spots in now, because as soon as the registration's up, then it will close the registration. And there won't be, I think it has a countdown there, but there won't be any warning. So it'll just be done. And what you can expect to learn there is how I have then, over the last 5 years specifically, worked on this technique, because the reason why I was at Superior Court was because during the beginning of the pandemic, I knew my job was to keep my patients healthy. And I knew the things that they were mandating were going to have a negative impact on people's health. So I figured out a way to not only keep our patients healthy, but to also not have COVID spread rampant within my office. And I proved these strategies, and I showed them to the Department of Health. I got nominated to be appointed by the governor's office. And then after the governor did his background check and found out that some dumb chiropractor figured out there was a better way to be healthy through the COVID pandemic than putting everyone in masks and social distancing them and stressing them out and filling them with fear. When he found out that a chiropractor, dumb, not a real doctor, me, then I had waves of investigations and accusations filed against every single person in my office, which destroyed my team. Every single member of my team went under immense pressure because of the threats from the government. And so I have had to learn how to reset the nervous system in order to stay grounded, because when it comes down to it, inside the house right now, as my kids, they're waiting for me to come in to have lunch. My daughter, who is 11, turns 12 next month. Through this whole experience, I know one simple truth. Like, our kids don't do what we tell them to do. Our kids mirror what we do. And when it came down to it, I knew how to stay healthy during the pandemic. And what the state of Washington did wasn't based on science. It was based on coercion and political momentum. And it was based on a simple premise of, we're going to tell you what to do, and you're going to do it because you have to. And I knew at that moment that there was no way I was teaching my daughter that anyone ever in her life will tell her what to do and force her to do it because they're powerful enough, they're rich enough, they have enough resources, and they have enough influence over everyone around her to make her do something that she did not believe in. And then, I'm not going to say more importantly, but equally important, my boys, who is Beckett's 10th birthday today, and Callan, I was going to teach them that that's the way that you act when you get into power. You don't just force people to do something because you have power over them. You do what's right, regardless of the cost. And the only way I've been able to do this to the point where I'm now appealing at the Superior Court level is by able to tap back into that status that we all had growing up, of no anxiety, having peace, being able to just do the right thing and enjoy the process. And you might say, well, you're a little sick, Devin, if you enjoy this whole process. Well, again, you'd be right. So if you would like to continue to live in anxiety, base your decisions based on anxiety and what you think everyone else thinks about it, and have rock-hard shoulders and pain that immobilizes you, then keep doing what you're doing. But how would your life look different if you could get rid of anxiety? What would you do differently if you didn't have chronic pain? How would you interact with your kids? How would you interact with your spouse? And then what would you do if you had energy? Because all of this anxiety that's trapped in our system, everything, just like our phone gets bogged down, all that nervous system energy that is simply trapped in your body is exhausting your system, making it slow. What would you do differently if you had that energy? Would you have to guilt yourself into trying to work out again and get in shape because you should know better? Or would you just do it because you have the energy, because you wanted to? If you want to learn, if you're tired of doing what you're doing, I'm here for another week and a half. Sign up for the workshop February 4th, 6 to 8. And I hope to see you there.